And Happy New Year, everybody. Welcome to Community TV with Adaire. This is TV for you by TV from me, where I talk to people in the community who are doing amazing things to help those around them. This could be in meditation, it could be yoga class, learning to cook, physical fitness, weight loss, anything that you're interested in, we cover it here. I've had a couple of weeks break over the silly season, but now we're back on board. And today I want to talk to you or share with you some expert tips around things like how to stick with your New Year's resolution. Now, I have made plenty of New Year's resolutions in the past, and I have managed to stick with a few of them. I've invited some people to join me today who will be able to share with you their tips and tricks and tools to sticking with your New Year's resolution and making this year, 2019, the year for you. First, I'd like to introduce Peter Border. Hello, Peter. How are you?
Hello, Adaire. I'm fantastic, thank you. How are you?
I am excellent. It's so cool that you could join me at a moment's notice. I've got Laurie and Tracy sitting in the green room as well. And I thought we could have a bit of a discussion around what it is that you do and what you teach, because you're a coach, and how you share and what techniques and tricks that you share with the people that you coach in how to actually make those New Year's resolutions stick. So I'm going to bring Tracy in, and then we'll bring Laurie in, and we'll have a bit of a panel session. Hi, Tracy. How are you?
Hi, dear. How are you doing? Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you, Tracy. Meet Peter. Peter.
Hi, Peter. How are you doing?
Hey, Tracy.
And here's my friend Laurie. Laurie is the have you got Barry the Brain there?
No, Barry the Brain is down in the office because I'm still on holidays, but he's not.
So Laurie, meet Tracy and Peter. Thank you all for joining me.
Hi guys, how are you?
Hi, Laurie.
G'day.
Do appreciate
Peter in place, I don't know, but I think we can only see from your nose upwards. Well, that's me maybe.
Yeah, so
I can only see the nose upwards as well.
Okay,
well, let's enjoy each other's nose upwards then.
Don't move a thing, okay? Because I can see you all perfectly, and I'm going to do just a TV check just to make sure that on my time TV we can see more than your nose and your forehead, because otherwise you're just going to look like food. It's a bit of a different outlook when you're in the dashboard as the actual driver of the show. But while I do that, let's have a bit of a I guess, no, you look perfect. Let's just have a couple of minutes from each of you around when I put the call out, and I sort of made it a little bit random, and I said, hey, who would like to come on the show today? And you've put up your hand, which I'm truly grateful. Just a little bit about what inspired you to say, yep, I'm ready to, I'm gonna jump on this Be Live TV, My Time TV, Community TV with Adaire, that's a mouthful, and share your expertise with people. So Peter, can we start with you? Just a couple of minutes about what it is what you do, how you help people.
When I get a message from you, Adaire, the thinking is, what can I do to help? And look, what I do on a daily basis, or almost a daily basis, is I help people deal with anxiety. I help people boost their own self-esteem to find their internal courage, their internal resources, so that they can be their best version. I think that phrase gets overused, being the best version of yourself, but it's a really good one. If you're going to be anything, be the best of you. So each day I try and make myself better, just get that little bit better, 1% better, 0.5% better each day. And when you talk about New Year's resolutions, I'm sure we'll have an opportunity to go into that specifically later on.
Yes, yeah, for sure.
I don't actually like the idea. I don't actually like the idea personally of a New Year's resolution. The idea of just a new resolution. Just any time that you feel like it, any time that you feel like you're stagnant in life, it can be your New Year's Eve resolution. So it's more about a way of living, the way that I approach things, as opposed to a small short-term push. Maybe there are times of that push, but I really believe it comes down to a lifestyle.
I love that. I love that. And I want to talk about that a little bit more around that whole continuing it as well, because that I think is important.
Yeah.
And something just popped into my mind when you said that, and it's about when we'll pick it up in a minute. But I wanted to say that the way I look at that is to give yourself a break, because when you slip up, it's not like the be all and end all. So I'd like to talk about that in a little while. But Tracy, share a little bit about you, and I'm so glad that you joined us. Happy New Year to you as well. And
Thank you.
yeah,
We had to balance out the numbers here, make sure we haven't had even guys and girls.
and guess what? I've got us girl, guy as well. And that's totally not planned.
Okay, look, the reason I answered the call was this is something that's a real passion of mine. So much so that I wrote a book about this very thing going on 3 years ago. And although some of my philosophies of what I wrote about 3 years ago have changed slightly, the basics still stand. And I think the one thing about resolutions or goals or whatever they are is one, you've got to actually make sure it's not yours and that you're not just enrolled in someone else's and you've been made to believe that it's your goal even if it's not. And I've actually see a lot of people do that, and it's why they don't stick to it, because it's actually not something that drives them to get out of bed in the morning.
Yeah, so true, so true. So Laurie, we've done a bit of work together recently, and I've enjoyed every second of it. And I've really enjoyed the learning about the Barry the Brain, but he's not here with us. So just explain to those who haven't had the pleasure of your company who you are and what you're about.
Well, Barry's on holidays, so I'll be his spokesperson for the moment. Look, as you know, I work with people and their intentions on a daily basis, and working with people who are setting very, very strong and very powerful and very repetitive intentions on a daily basis, which creates some new neural patterns in the brain. And I'm very much along the same lines as Tracy and Peter, as I know you would agree with me, Adaire, because personally I think New Year's resolutions is a technical word, they're a crock. I have no belief in them whatsoever. I do, however, believe in drawing a line in the sand when it's time to set up a new goal or a new focus or a new purpose, and to emotionalize it and start to create a plan for it for yourself so you can create action. And that's where it becomes, as Tracy says, it's your focus, your goal. Most people's New Year's resolutions are spur of the moment. Oh, I'm going to lose weight. I'm going to be fitter. And it's full of I'm going to be's. And all the brain is going to do is going to be working out how not to do it. So they are destined to fail unless you have a process. And I'm looking at Peter and Tracy, because I can just see your foo eyes from here. I can see your eyes are saying yes to that. So I think we're going to have a great conversation.
It does. It actually does. Okay, from so I think that's the one message from both Peter and Laurie. It was like it's not a New Year's resolution, it's a new resolution. I really like that. And from Tracy, the big message so far is about it being your resolution, not someone else's. So let's have a look at a little bit of that. When you get out of bed on New Year's Day, or you go into your party mode New Year's Eve, and how many times, as a long time smoker, that I haven't smoked for a long time now, but how many times I would get to New Year's and I would go, right, that's it. And what I would do was try and, jam 30 cigarettes in my mouth and try and smoke them all, because it was like the last thing I was ever going to get. It was like the end of the world as we know it. And that was a New Year's Day. You'd wake up and you'd go, oh, I'm so hungover, I need a cigarette and a beer. I'm telling Charles that at school here. I
think you're telling a familiar story.
There was so many failures. So for the people who do, when you are, because New Year is around having that new, it is an opportunity to start again. So if you want to share some words of wisdom around harnessing that, regardless, I know you're saying New Year's resolution is a crop, but it's something that, how can we get some good out of it? How can we make it stick if people are going to insist on doing it? So, Peter, do you want to share maybe?
Yeah, for sure. So the question, Adaire, is New Year's resolutions. People are going to, they know the words, they know the phrase of a New Year's resolution, but how do you make it stick? And I personally believe that it's about appreciating that we're more than just the goals that we set. There's multiple different ways that you can set a goal, and I'm sure that if they resonate with you, that's really the key. I've got a really basic way that I set a goal specifically, which is to keep it in the present tense. So as Laurie was saying there, it's if you're then that's the going to. You just programmed your brain to say that you're about to do something, sort of, and you can get stuck there in the getting ready to get ready phase. So I just keep it in the present tense, like I weigh this, or I am this, or just as if, it's almost like you play a little trick on your mind that you pretend, you visualize that you are already that whatever you're talking about. So whatever it is that you're trying to achieve, pretend for a little while that you are already that. And then the key difference is don't keep pretending. Like, pretend so you can condition your mind to understand that that's what you're aiming for, and program your unconscious to go towards that. But then at some point you've really just got to. There's so many ways of looking at things, right? And I think oftentimes, like, motivation and energy and being jazzed up, like that I'm an energetic person. But at the end of the day, there just comes a point where you just got to realize that if you are going to make something happen, it's you that is going to make the something happen. You can get a personal trainer, you can get a coach, you can have hypnotherapy for quitting smoking, you can do whatever you want to do. But until you make the choice of this is what I am, this is who I am, and I'm going to manifest that right now and each day. And I love what Laurie just said about repetition, that just on a daily basis. Like, success and goal achievement, it can be monotonous. Like, it can be boring almost. People glamorize it and say that it's this and that, and they put I always like the phrase, like, overcoming problems isn't a montage. Like, you watch a movie and the main character goes into the real deep valley of despair, and then all of a sudden they meet a long lost friend and they go, oh, hang on, you know what we'll do? We'll paint the shop and we'll do this. And in about a 2-minute montage with some high energy music, they've turned everything around. And I just think that's how people want to see goal achieving, is that I'll just rally my forces and blitz it. It's daily.
Because I've never seen Rocky, but I had that vision.
Yeah. Well, I love what Muhammad Ali, speaking of boxing, he phrase, and I'm going to butcher it here a little bit, but it's basically he hated training. The 5 a.m. starts, he hated training, but he did it so that he could dance under those lights, which is, in his way, that was what he was achieving. He wanted to be the best. And what did he say? He didn't say, I'm going to be the best. I'm going to be the greatest. He said, I am the greatest. Like, he stated it. He said it. He spoke it. And Napoleon Hill, whatever the mind of man and woman can believe can conceive and believe, they can achieve. And I think getting down to that fundamental level, it'll take that New Year's resolution and it'll make it that target that you are aiming towards on a daily basis. And then, of course, you plan behind it after that.
And now we'll have some light-hearted relief here. Theone says, you've never seen Rocky, how can we be friends?
Good on you, Theone.
I think, and what Theone's saying, I'm just a little bit off track here, but I think, from the flow of the conversation, but I really would like to pick this up, because I actually think what Theone's saying is around, this is something that is another way of looking at it as well. New Year's for me is all about releasing the bullshit that no longer serves me. I make sure I do it before the 31st of December, going into the new year with a clean heart and a clear head, because she never makes resolutions.
Yeah.
So, yes, I'd like to make some comment around that.
Yeah. Well, if you think of it, let's follow the boxing metaphor for the moment, because it is spot on. So Muhammad Ali was onto this, because he framed what he wanted to achieve, his desire, as a current state, as an I am. And as Peter said, this is critical for New Year's resolutions. I used to, and I know so many people who did the New Year's resolution thing, usually with a few too many wines or beers or what have you. It was all bravado and it's all about dealing with the bullshit of your year and being sick of it. That's why we make New Year's resolutions. Let's make no bones about it. 9 times out of 10, we do it to move away from something we're not happy with. How about we add to that working towards something that we really, really crave? Now, for some people, that takes time to stop and pause and think about what that might be. So it's not just about losing weight. It's almost like if you don't understand why you're making a resolution, forget the word New Year for the moment, a goal, setting a focus. Why is it important? That's really critical. When you understand why and you frame it in the now as an I am statement, that's the way you can start to create focus. Because I think what you were leading to, Peter, quite rightly, is I often say everything in our life happens twice. First, in our imagination. This is the fake it till you make it bit. But then when you activate it, when you put some action to it, so it's no good sitting on a mountaintop, zenning and omming yourself for 20 years. I'm going to manifest weight loss. I'm going to manifest weight. Well, you probably will because you won't eat for 20 years. But you have to do something, and you will do something when it's important enough to you. So when you work out, why do I want to lose weight? Why do I want to give up smoking? Why do I want X, Y, Z to happen in my business or in my relationships or whatever it might be? You start to get an emotion about that. Hey, I miss not being able to run around with my kids instead of having 30 cigarettes a day. Therefore, I want health. I want to be healthy. I want to be engaged with my kids. That's the resolution. In that case, losing weight or give up smoking simply becomes one of the steps. And my dog agrees. He's barking.
He's actually lifting his head off the floor. Wow.
He is on this really hot day here in Brisbane. Yeah.
Now, Tracy, I don't know if we've got you here because you look like, she's smiling, because I know whether you'd actually frozen or not. But I did want to make mention. Now, I've got a question for you, and it was about, this is a really interesting one because it's something that's dear to my heart, and it was a goal that I set, or an intention that I set. It wasn't New Year's, but it was at the end of March last year. It feels funny saying that. Now, the lovely Kirsty Roach, I don't know if you know of Kirsty. Peter, I think you were familiar with her, with her work with the motor neuron disease. And she passed away in April, tragically, for a car accident. So remembrance to Kirsty, because she started this ball rolling, and it's huge. It's much bigger than Kirsty. She's challenged a heap of people who have lost loved ones to motor neuron disease, or who are wanting to support people that they know, raise funds for motor neuron disease South Australia. And so her challenge was to walk 1,000 kilometres between New Year's Day and Christmas, or like 2018 and New Year's Day 2017, and New Year's Eve 2017 and New Year's Day 2018. Did I get that right? No. Help me out here, guys. Anyway, in the last 12 months...
365 days.
I'm a bit lost here. In the last 12 months, she said she was asking people to walk this 1,000 kilometres, or get supporters for it, raise awareness for it. And Theone and I actually... we called her the slogan bogan, because she was great at making up slogans that sounded just like bogan. So, you are remembered, Kirsty. So, Kirsty, it was 365 days of walking. Now, I started in March, and I got to about 800 kilometres, and I stopped in November. I didn't keep going. Now, my question for you, Tracy, is that, do you think that's because it was someone else's goal, or...
No.
Pardon?
No. So let me give you an example. You said that you used to be a smoker. Now, fundamentally, anyone who's a smoker knows that they need to quit. They know it's unhealthy and not good for them and all that. But why they can't quit is because it's not necessarily their reason. And Laurie, you said something about that a moment ago. So they might know that they need to quit for their health, They might, they might have had a family member who's gotten really ill from it and got emphysema, and so they, know, okay, well, that could be me in another 10 years. They might have their wife nagging about it or their husband nagging about it, and so they know it's putting pressure on their marriage, so they've got another good reason to quit. But until they actually want to do it for them, the wife's goal might be for a husband to quit smoking. The family's goal might be for them to quit smoking so that they're still alive in 20 years. The kids might like them to quit smoking. And so individually, that's three separate goals. But until it's your goal and you want to do it for you, then you'll never stick to it and actually be accountable to it.
Yeah. So me taking on a goal like walking 1,000 Ks to raise awareness for a terrible disease that so many people are afflicted with, that was definitely not my goal. I would never have thought of that in a million years, seriously. I have reset the goal, and I have to say this out loud and publicly because it is my intention. I have already walked that 1,000 kilometres in 2019, and one of the things that I did was when I got to 800 Ks and I stopped in November, and there was reasons for that, and I guess we can discuss the difference between a reason and an excuse as well. But it was I went to help my mum because there was some family issues, and it just completely fell off the radar, which was fine. But I just went, I don't want this to. I didn't feel like it was a failure, but I wanted it to succeed. So I've given myself another year. So picking that up and starting again. Do you have some words around that and how I can keep myself motivated to keep doing it? So anyone want to share?
So inside there, you
I
might
think
have
back to what a lot of us were saying before, is that really having clarity about your reasons as to why. And whenever you start to lose focus or get off track or take a few backward steps, it's reconnect with your, it's almost a done to death phrase, but, connect with your why. But when you think about it, it really is about knowing clearly what's driving you and having that to the front of mind as often as you can. So it becomes your beacon that says, hey, it's like the lighthouse, when you're off track, go back to that light again. Focus again. Well, maybe not the lighthouse, because if you go towards it, you'll hit rocks. Bad analogy. You know what I'm saying. You know what I'm getting at. The reason why drives another part. So it's a shame we haven't got Barry the brain with us, but it drives an unconscious part of the brain to make a connection, and that is the emotional seat of our memory. And when you have that connection at an emotional level, your drive to continue on or to rejig how you're going about your goal, your focus, your purpose, your resolution, call it whatever, the thing that you say you really want to do, the emotion will drive it more than any intellectual rationalization you have for it. In fact, your intellectualizing will usually get in the way.
It probably will. And Tracy she actually started to talk, but you can't hear that she.
No, for some reason I can't hear Tracy at all.
Yeah, so anyway, I'm just going to get back to Tracy because, and I've just covered all of our faces up here. Fiona's saying that to us, she feels like we had way too many causes and things we were pushing at the same time, and we had a different emotional attachment to each. Sometimes we do things because we value the other person or admire them, but it's not our own desire deep down. Now that's Fiona is. We'll leave that one, Fiona. Barry the brain is a naughty boy.
You've come to know Barry too well, I think, Fiona.
I think for me that emotional attachment, like walking, is obviously a thing that I would like to do for my health. And I would like to hear what Tracy was starting to say about that as well. So I know you can't hear her, Laurie, but you will be able to on the replay. So Tracy, do you want to share? No, she's gone or not. No, Peter.
Yeah, sure.
Oh, yep, she's here.
So,
No, I think we're having some trouble with the. I'm just going to drop you out, Tracy, and if you can hear me, just jump back in again, okay? So just leave it and pop back in again. Peter.
Yes. What I would add, and I love what Laurie's been saying all along. I think absolutely spot on. That emotional connection, and yeah, it is overdone. I think the best version of yourself and find your reason why. They're massively done, but I believe there is truth in them. Wholeheartedly, I think they're spot on the money. Another thing that I've found from my own personal experience is this idea of choice. That even if I'm going to do something, if I'm going to go in a certain direction, the moment somebody else says, "Hey, Peter, you should go in that certain direction," it kind of tarnishes it a bit, and I'm motivated to go there because I want it to be my choice. And the pops into my head of Winston Churchill. He says, "We all love to, but we don't like being taught." And I just, every time someone gives me feedback, this little voice called the ego pops into my head and says, but if you acknowledge that person's right, Peter, you're also acknowledging that you didn't know something. And it's a real challenge that I have, and I think we, at a certain level, we all do. Sometimes that dialogue is played out publicly and people bite back and that sort of jazz. And other times with someone like myself, I'm grateful that it's an internal dialogue and I grapple with that on a frequent basis and I'm getting better. But this idea of choice when it comes to the goals about the 1,000 kilometers or any goal, and again, what Laura was saying is earlier, if it's our choice, and if we aren't repeatedly saying, yes, I want to be doing this, I'm doing this for me, as much as we want to be altruistic and do things for other people and all that sort of jazz, man, if you want to quit smoking, it's got to be for yourself. It's got to be because you believe that is the best way that you can serve yourself and that's going to help you to serve others. Because if you're, again, another phrase, if your cup is empty, how do you pour out? So it's about realizing that you are the one in control, that you are the one making the choice on a daily basis to go and walk those steps, to cease smoking and do something else and get some fresh air instead, to have that cold shower, which is what I'm loving. But it's your choice. It always has been. It always will be. And when there's one finger pointing towards something else, there's those other three fingers pointing towards you, because you are more than 3 times responsible. You are 100% responsible for the results that you have and that you are getting in your life. So once you internalize that and you realize that it's your choice, no one else's, I think that puts you in the best place to achieve anything that you want to achieve.
Put you in the driver's seat. Now, Tracy, before we wind it up, we've got a couple of minutes. And I know, Tracy, you were sharing and then you cut out and you've refreshed. And then we'll just give a plug for each of you about what you do and how you can help people. Then I'll get you to put your links in the chat below so that people, if they want to follow you up and catch up with you even further, that they can. So, Tracy, do you have any final words or anything you wanted to finish saying before?
I'll just finish up on what we were talking about in terms of your 1,000-kilometre goal. So there's probably a lot of listeners who have got a similar goal to a lot of people around them as well. I know with network marketers, for example, that a lot of network marketers will have an income goal of $100,000 or $250,000 or $1 million, and usually they'll relate to a particular level in the company. And the mistake that we make is we think the goal is that thing, but that's actually not what the goal is. The goal is why you want that thing. And the way to really get clear about it is to write it, to understand that it's your goal and that you are invested in it. Write a paragraph about what it means to you to have achieved it, what difference it's going to make to your life, how it's going to make you feel, and how it's going to make the people around you, like how it's going to impact on them as well, and how that makes you feel. And if you struggle to write that, then it's not your goal, and let go of it and look for one that actually is.
Yeah. That makes perfect sense. And I think we've got a bit of a lag here, and I've lost you again, Tracy. And I apologise if I'm talking over you because I can't hear you, and Laurie never could. So what I'm going to do, Well, while you're speaking, Laurie, give us a plug. I know you've got some exciting stuff coming up, and then we'll shoot back to Peter. And if we can get Tracy back again, she can share with us what she does. But make sure that you come back and drop your links to whatever you're doing in the comments below, because people might want to just hook in and find them. No, Tracy's gone again. All right. So, Laurie, give us a little bit of a plug of what's coming up for you and how people can hook into you.
Sure. Look, as you know, one of the videos I put out a couple of days ago was about this very thing, and I wrote this thing about a vision. Call it your new resolution. So a vision that's written down with a date becomes a plan, and a plan broken down into steps becomes a goal, and a goal that you have passion and feeling towards has a high likelihood of becoming action, and then action becomes reality. So that's the sort of process that I look at when it comes to setting goals, setting targets, setting New Year's resolutions. So the plug, for those of you who are watching and are interested, I'm running an online interactive workshop on planning your brilliant life for 2019. We will talk a bit about mindset and have a little bit of a structure where we help you take your resolution, your plan, your important things for the vital aspects of your life, and break it down so that you have something to work towards, that you have enough emotion for, that your brain says, I must, I will, I am doing this. So I'll put the link there. I don't know if that's the way you want it, but that's the link to the event. And it's online over 2 mornings.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Laurie. And thank you for joining us. It's been brilliant having you here, and it's been great to catch up again. And it was cool to see you in Queensland. That's awesome. I'm back there in March, so we'll catch up again. Peter, your superpower. Yes. I know you're amazing. You've coached me, and I just have so much time and respect for what you do and how you do it, mate.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much, Adaire. Well, likewise. And to keep it short and sweet, it's been an absolute privilege, and thank you for the opportunity to come and have a chat with you. And if someone wants to find out more about me, I've got a Facebook group called Living Life Like a Holiday. It's not a travel club, but what it is, it's a way of doing life. Why does Monday have to be so different to a Friday or a Saturday? I get that we have clock time. That Monday, we refer to it on that for a certain reason. I get that as practical, but I believe that we wake up and we choose our mindset. And if you're waking up feeling like you've stubbed your toe every morning, well, it's time to change your mindset about what that actually means to you when bad things do happen. Bad in inverted commas. So Living Life Like a Holiday, I go into that group live every Monday at 7 a.m. And what I've just done early December, I did a live 5-day challenge. That is the 5 announcements in the group. So if someone goes into the group, the first 5 links to day 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 of that challenge. That was hugely popular from my standards, which is fantastic. Had a lot of fun. And if someone goes through that 5-day challenge and they tag me in their comments, because they answer a challenge question at the end of that, then they qualify for a free half-an-hour consult with myself. We can talk about whatever you want. You can call it a hypnotherapy session. You can call it an NLP coaching session, whatever you want to call it. But either way, you get me on the phone with you for 30 minutes and we can talk about whatever you like. So if someone goes through that 5-day challenge...
If you're watching it, do it.
And the challenge is a lot of fun as well. People have said good things about it, which I'm really, really happy with, because that's the whole point of doing it.
Oh, beautiful. And Tracy, we had some problems, but you're back. So
I'm back.
Quick 30-second plug for what you're about. And Laurie, can you put the link in the My Time TV? You put it in the dashboard of Be Live. So
am I in the wrong place?
Yeah, but that's all right. We'll sort that out after. Tracy, thank you so much. Thank you all. But Tracy.
So, like Adaire, I wear a few hats, and in terms of the coaching stuff, I do that through a group called Authentic Networking Women. It does not exclude men. It's also open to guys that love working with women as well. And it's just getting to the core about building business authentically, not doing it from a salesy place, and really getting in touch authentically with what you want and how you want to achieve it.
Beautiful. All right. Well, if you've got a link to the group, again, she's dropped out again, but pop it in the chat below, and I will wind it up here. Thank you so much for joining us for Community TV with Adaire, the first one for 2019.
Oh,
Yeah, here we are.
It was such a good year. I'm going to have it again. It's like Groundhog Day.
Well done.
And I invite you all to watch me as I walk 1,000 kilometres this year, because I've got it already done. All right, guys. Love you lots. Thank you so much, and we'll see you again next week. Bye.
Thanks, Adaire. Thanks.